Why do so many of us scroll endlessly, binge watch shows, overeat, drink, or shop online late into the night? It's easy to say we're just tired or trying to relax, but what if these behaviors are actually ways we numb ourselves? What if anxiety, addiction, and stress aren't the problem, but the smoke from a deeper fire? Welcome back to Psyche Unveiled. In this video, we're diving into the real reason we numb our emotions, drawing on the powerful insights of trauma experts like Dr. Gabor Maté and Bessel Kolk. We'll explore how early emotional wounds shape our coping mechanisms and how we can start healing today. If you've ever wondered why you feel restless, anxious, or overwhelmed, even when life seems okay on the outside, this video is for you. Let's start with a simple question. What does it mean to numb ourselves? Numbing is any behavior we use to avoid feeling pain, discomfort, or difficult emotions. That could mean substances like alcohol or drugs. But more often, it looks like normal activities, like scrolling Instagram, mindless eating, shopping, or even working too much. According to trauma research, especially the work of Bessel Kolk, our bodies hold on to unprocessed emotions. When we haven't dealt with our pain, especially childhood trauma or emotional neglect, it doesn't just disappear. It sits inside us, bubbling under the surface, until we find ways to quiet it down. And that's where numbing comes in. For some, numbing can look like an addiction, and Dr. Gabor Maté says it best. The question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. Addiction, anxiety, and even chronic stress are often just the visible tip of a much deeper iceberg. The real issue lies beneath the surface, often rooted in childhood experiences like feeling unseen, unsupported, or emotionally overwhelmed. Let's break that down. A child who wasn't allowed to express anger might grow up terrified of conflict, constantly suppressing their needs. A child who felt they had to be perfect to be loved may grow up with relentless anxiety and burnout. And someone who experienced chaos in their home may become hyper-independent, never asking for help, yet feeling deeply alone. These patterns don't just go away, they live in our nervous system. And we find ways, consciously or not, to push those feelings away. That's where the cycle of numbing begins. Most of us treat anxiety and stress like enemies. We try to get rid of them with medication, routines, or distraction. But what if these feelings are actually signals? Think of anxiety as your nervous system waving a red flag. It's saying, hey, something here feels unsafe or unresolved. Gabor Maté explains that our modern culture rewards productivity and performance, but rarely teaches emotional awareness. So when stress shows up, we don't have the tools to sit with it. Instead, we go into automatic mode, work harder, scroll more, escape. The truth is, emotional numbing doesn't make the pain go away, it just buries it deeper. And the more we numb, the more disconnected we become. From others, from our bodies, and, more importantly, even from true selves. Let's talk science for a minute. When we experience trauma, whether it's a one-time event or ongoing emotional neglect, our brain and body adapt for survival. Bessel Kolk describes how trauma changes the brain. The amygdala, which detects threats, becomes hyperactive. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logic and decision-making, becomes less active. The hippocampus, which processes memory, shrinks. What does that mean in real life? It means someone who experienced emotional trauma may live in a constant state of hypervigilance. Loud noises feel like danger. Conflict feels unbearable. Rest feels unsafe. And to soothe that constant tension, we numb. From a young age, most of us are taught what emotions are acceptable. Crying is weak, anger is rude, vulnerability is embarrassing. So we learn to suppress. We don't talk about our feelings. We distract ourselves, we cope quietly. And by the time we're adults, we don't even realize how disconnected we are from our own emotions. Many people live their lives in survival mode, constantly pushing, performing, pleasing. But beneath that is exhaustion, isolation, and often shame. Emotional suppression is a coping mechanism, but it comes at a cost. If this all sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us carry unprocessed emotional pain. We blame ourselves for our anxiety or habits, thinking, what's wrong with me? But here's the truth. There is nothing wrong with you. Your brain and body are doing what they were wired to do: survive. Dr. Maté emphasizes that addiction, anxiety, and even emotional shutdowns are not failures. They are adaptations. And if we can meet ourselves with compassion rather than judgment, healing can begin. So what now? If you've made it this far, you probably see it. Numbing isn't just about addiction. It's about the pain we carry, the coping we inherited, and the emotional disconnection we've never questioned. But here's the truth. Healing is possible, and it starts gently. Not with huge leaps, but with small, consistent steps towards self-awareness. First, give yourself permission to feel. That sounds simple, but many of us have spent decades doing the opposite. Feeling sad? We scroll. Feeling anxious? We eat. Feeling lonely? We binge. But healing from trauma begins when we pause and say, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Not fix it, not run from it, just listen. This is what Dr. Gabor Maté talks about when he says, the question is not why the addiction, but why the pain. Addiction, in all its forms, is an attempt to soothe pain. But when we get curious about the pain instead of covering it, we step into real emotional healing. Second, learn the language of your nervous system. Dr. Bessel van der Kolk reminds us in his book, The Body Keeps the Score, that trauma is stored in the body. That means real healing involves more than just talking. It involves tuning into your body, noticing your breathing, tension, posture, and reactions. Practices like somatic therapy, breathwork, or grounding exercises help calm the survival system and build what psychologists call emotional regulation. Third, reparent your inner child. Most of our emotional patterns were set in motion when we were young. If you constantly people-please, shut down emotionally, or fear rejection, that's likely a wounded inner child still trying to survive. Inner child work is powerful because it helps us bring love, safety, and validation to the parts of us that didn't get it when we needed it most. This doesn't mean blaming parents or revisiting every wound. It means noticing your inner voice when you make a mistake. Is it kind or is it punishing? That voice is often the leftover echo of childhood conditioning, and changing it begins with awareness. Fourth, seek safe connection. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in co-regulation, being around people who can hold space, offer empathy, and not rush to fix you. Whether that's through therapy, a support group, or one emotionally safe friend, connection is medicine. As Bessel van der Kolk puts it, being able to feel safe with other people is probably the single most important aspect of mental health. Healing is not about becoming self-sufficient. It's about feeling safe enough to be vulnerable. Fifth, replace numbing with nurturing. You don't need to quit cold turkey to heal. In fact, trying to remove a coping mechanism without adding support often backfires. So instead of forcing yourself to stop scrolling, drinking, binge-watching, or people-pleasing, ask, what is this helping me avoid? And then, what else could I do to care for? Maybe it's journaling, going for a walk, breathing deeply, or just sitting in silence. These small, nurturing acts help rewire the brain and bring safety back to the body. Lastly, be patient and compassionate with yourself. There is no timeline for trauma recovery. It's not linear. You will have good days and hard days. But healing is not about being perfect. It's about building a relationship with yourself based on understanding, not judgment. When we learn to sit with our feelings rather than silence them, when we nurture instead of numb, when we explore instead of escape, that's when the healing really begins. And here's the beautiful part. The more we heal, the less we need to escape. Here's the deeper issue. We live in a culture that promotes numbing. We're sold the idea that success is about hustle, not rest. That being strong means being silent. That self-care is selfish. Even worse, the very industries that profit from our pain, alcohol, fast food, pharmaceuticals, and social media, also offer the solutions. Ever notice how the same feed that shows you stress-inducing news also shows you ads for things to distract you? The system isn't designed to help us feel. It's designed to keep us consuming. One thing that is very important to remember is that you're not alone in this. This is the part most people never hear. You're not the only one who feels this way. Feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally numb? These aren't personal flaws. They are human responses to a stressful world. And when we begin to understand this, when we begin to feel instead of numb, a shift happens. We stop running. We start healing. So why do we numb ourselves? Because feeling feels hard, but feeling is also the way forward. This isn't about fixing yourself. It's about reconnecting with your body, your story, and your emotions with others. As Dr. Mate says, the attempt to escape from pain is what creates more pain. If this video resonated with you, you're already on the healing path. Keep going. The real you isn't numb. The real you is still here, waiting to be felt. If you found this video helpful, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it today. Let's build a community where we can feel, heal, and grow together. We'll see you in the next video.